Now, one thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. Is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go. There's no place to throw your trash.
Have you really thought about what it would take to fake a moon landing?
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. But we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Have been pushing NASA to revamp its vision. The shuttle did some extraordinary work in low orbit experiments, this International Space Station, moving cargo. It was an extraordinary accomplishment, and we're very proud of the work that it did. But now what we need is that next technological breakthrough. We're still using the same models for space travel that we used with the Apollo program.
Hold up. So he's saying that they're still using the same models that they used in the Apollo space program, but all these people from NASA saying it was destroyed. Where are we going with this?
For me, the fact that there's a rise of flat earthers is evidence of two things.
Okay.
One, we live in a country that protects free speech.
That's actually kind of awesome.
And two, we live in a country with a failed educational system.
Ooh.
Eat this.
Chuck, got to get this off my chest, like now. When people say they want to go into space,
I want to go.
What do they typically mean by that?
They mean I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm going into space, man. I'm going up there. I'm going up there.
Up there, and generally they mean they want to go into orbit.
Excuse me, the f did you just say?
All right, anyone who has ever been in space.
They don't mean that. They want to go to space, man.
Well, okay, if that's the case, do you know how many people have left low Earth orbit?
We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
I'm not in on it, Truman, because there is no it.
Extremity. Definition is the farthest or most remote part, section, or point. Collins, English Dictionary. Extremity. The furthest point, especially from the center. The wood lies on the southern extremity of the estate. Extremities. Formal. The parts of the human body furthest from the heart. For example, the fingers, toes, and nose. Cambridge Dictionary. Okay, so let's see a case study application of extremities so we can get the context. And the oxen which stood in that place daily licked up the salt to the extremities of their feet, and in the morning it would spring forth afresh, and they again licked it up unto this day. Jasher 19 verses 54. Now in the book of Enoch, in many places, but I've chosen two, it says, "From hence I advanced on towards the north, to the extremities of the earth, and there I saw a great and glorious wonder at the extremities of the whole earth. From thence I went to the extremities of the world, westwards, where I perceived 3 gates open, as I had seen in the north, the gates and the passages through them being of equal magnitude." Enoch 34 verses 1 to 2, indicating that Enoch reached the end of the earth, or the furthest part of the whole earth, which is a very interesting statement to make. "And all those kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow, and upon the snow were large stones of snow. And one said to the other, Come, let us break through the snow and see. Perhaps the men that remained with Enoch are dead, and are now under the stones of snow. And they searched but could not find him, for he had ascended into heaven." Jasher chapter 3 verse 38.
Unlike what we've been told in school, some flat earthers imagine the Earth looks like a snow globe, round but not sphere. The North Pole is at the center of most flat Earth maps, with the ice of Antarctica holding everything in.
So are you certain this is what the Earth looks like?
Pretty sure. Almost. I mean, there are some details to be worked out, sure.
Those iconic blue marble images seen from space, flat earthers denounce them as fakes.
Because it seems like this conspiracy that the Earth is flat is picking up steam, and I don't even know who that would benefit. The globe makers, I guess, the globe barons. But it just seems crazy to me, because how many people you would have to keep that conspiracy going? Because you fly to China, you didn't get to an edge.
Yeah, you didn't. You didn't get to the edge, and you sent astronauts with, then they did pictures, and they showed a globe. So this is a big conspiracy, Tyrus.
Corey also made some headlines for comments on a podcast where he doesn't believe in the moon landing.
We ever been to the moon?
Nope.
They gonna come get us. I don't think so either.
Elon Musk is
Sorry, I don't want to start a conspiracy.
They ain't been on the moon.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Now, Curry isn't old enough, right? I mean, I remember where I was in, this...
Wait a minute.
This is our archival footage of...
See, this is what happens. You turn the sports guys loose.
Right, you're right. It's we're having fun with it. But I do remember where I was in 1969, right?
Sure,
Houston.
When they faked
the moon landing. Exactly. You're too young. You don't remember that moment. But it was a black and white TV. I was at the Russian River. What do we say? Houston Tranquility Base. The Eagle has landed.
The Eagle has landed.
Like yesterday.
All right, Dennis. It was a real deal.
Yeah, I believe.
Dennis.
Jalen Rose, please, just please tell me that you believe that human beings landed on the moon.
I'm with Steph and AI on this one.
I knew it. I'm with them on this one. Okay, if you're gonna say You've seen the footage. Let me tell you this. There's footage. I see a lot of footage that gets doctored.
So I actually ran into a NASA employee at Starbucks, asked him why NASA means deceive in Hebrew. Technically, it's the word nashah, but it sounds so similar.
500 years ago, there were people on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean, but neither knew about the other. On the western side, our side, the people had reddish-brown skins and lived in huts or wigwams. On the eastern side, in Europe, the people were white-skinned. They had learned how to build houses and large sailing ships, but they still didn't know much about the rest of the world. In fact, most of them believed the earth was flat. Then one day, a map maker named Christopher Columbus had an idea.
Do you know what? I think the world isn't flat at all. I think it's round like a ball.
First of all, lad, we've got to get all these medieval ideas out of your head. Clear the way for new ideas. Knowledge of man's fabulous discoveries in the centuries ahead. Now, that'll be a great advantage, boy.
Advantage indeed. If the boy goes about saying the world is round, they'll take him for a lunatic.
The earth isn't flat.
Oh, this just got real, y'all. Uh-oh.
I think life would be easier if the world was flat, and here's why. Think about how much easier it would be to throw stuff away.
Push it over the side.
Yeah. Just walk over, drop it off the edge.
You live at the edge.
No, but you know what? It's like because the earth is round, you can never really throw anything away.
Now, one thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the earth. There's no place to go. There's no place to throw your trash.
All right, now let's get to this scripture. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, right? Because that's scriptural. And the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretches out the heavens as a curtain and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. So when you look at this picture here, it's a tent to dwell in. He stretches it out like a curtain, and it's, you know, basically it's like a tent for them, us, to dwell in. Right?
Stretches out.
There you go. He sits on top of it.
Day 93 under the dome. With necessities growing dangerously low, who knows what spark will set off this powder keg? pitcher, steroid Santa Claus, kicks and deals. It's a long fly ball going back, and the ball shatters the sky, bringing the ocean itself down into the stadium. Oh, Simpson just broke this dream's reality wide open.
Now, one thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. Is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth.
When you eat, just step inside your new dome home and let the growing begin.
Ready to go to 2.
I'm Don Pettit. I'm a NASA astronaut, and I'm on the International Space Station. We're currently about 240 nautical miles above the surface of Earth. I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. But going to Mars should be one of the next series of steps that humans do. The first step should be going back to the moon for a number of technical reasons and exploration reasons, and then after that, Mars, maybe high orbit in Venus atmosphere, maybe going to Europa. There's all kinds of targets to go to, places of interest in our solar system. The only limit to human future is in our own imagination.
Look, he freezes it there. I would have done it too. Look at his face. In our own imagination. So he's telling you right there that how in the world, what will be considered the greatest feat of mankind ever, flying to the moon and landing on the moon, and they said we destroyed
the technology. Get out of here.
That doesn't happen, family.
Right.
That doesn't happen. Okay? These people are liars. They are liars. You hear me?
And that's what the word NASA means.
Mm-hmm.
It means deceiver.
Yeah, deceiver.
That's what the word means in modern Hebrew. The word NASA means deceiver.
What do you mean, not an accident? Who is this guy singing?
And who am I, a conspiracy fly? Did you know NASA means deceive in Hebrew?
I did not.
Please, just please tell me that you believe that human beings
landed on the moon.
I'm with Steph and AI on this one.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
I'm with them on this one.
Okay, if you're gonna say you've seen the footage.
Let me tell you this.
There's footage.
I see a lot of footage that gets doctored.
Who am I, a conspiracy fly? Did you know NASA means deceive in Hebrew?
I did not.
So if we were making that level of progress 50 years ago, this is when people barely were watching television, when it was not in color, black and white.
Okay.
Okay, this was segregation was taking place in our country.
What makes you think that we were not on the moon?
Where's the progress?
Okay.
In your opinion, Dr. Tyson, what was the most significant thing that the Apollo program achieved with the exception of landing on the moon? Wow, that's a good question when you think about it, because everybody, you say Apollo program, it's moon landing. Bang, that's the end of it. That's it. But he's saying, give me something that is just as significant that we don't think about.
Tang. Tang.
Tang, chosen for the Gemini astronauts. Have a blast. Have some Tang.
Ground animal flesh?
I'm not really hungry. Just some Tang.
Ah, Tang, the drink the astronauts took to the moon.
Astronauts to the moon.
Have you really thought about what it would take to fake a moon landing?
Non!
Vous pouvez pas couper cette musique là, c'est très chiant. Écoutez, voilà, vous marchez sur des croix. Ce jus d'orange est faux. Cette assiette est collée. Regardez, il y a un technicien qui est là, regardez. Il y a des caméras partout. Regardez, regardez. Allez-vous-en, partez.
I mean, think about it for a minute. If everybody is in on it, I'd have to be in on it too.
Well, first of all, you are going to have to define low Earth orbit for me.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Because
I'll say it another way. All right, the Apollo astronauts.
Okay,
that left Earth.
Right.
To go to the moon.
All right.
Okay.
And that's space.
Okay, wait a minute. So those are the only people who have ever left Earth for a destination. Every other astronaut, hundreds of them, are called astronauts, and we still say they went into space. And what that means is they went into low Earth orbit.
Oh, that's just awful.
And so low Earth orbit is, in practice, where the space station is, it's about a couple of hundred miles up. So the distance from Earth's surface to the space station is less than the distance from New York City to Washington, D.C. If you wanted to fake the moon landing, you would have to fake all of these documents. And it just seems to me it's way easier to just go to the moon. Has anyone considered that?
You have the flag flapping in the breeze, but there's no breeze on the moon. Yeah, and that was one of the most common claims by moon landing deniers, or nutbags, as I like to call them.
And like I stated earlier, lies in the news and truth in movies, working on opposites.
There he is, behind the rock. Come on!
What the hell is this, amateur night? Stop him, Harry. Get out of that moon
Yes. We were actively going to and walking on the moon by 1970. With this spacecraft, the Saturn V. So sorry, all of us didn't make it to the moon. Just a little upper part here where the astronauts are.
Right,
So,
yeah.
because you need that much fuel to pull that off.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for... So, I guess you want to do it again.
It was all recorded on these telemetry tapes. So where is this hard evidence?
I haven't seen anything that indicates the telemetry data is even in existence, and as I said, even if we had it, we don't have the machines to play it back.
But your own research has shown the telemetry data is missing.
That's right.
Could this be true? Mankind's first interplanetary exploration and the original science data is missing? If it's anywhere, it should be here at NASA's Goddard Space Center in Maryland, home to the National Space Science Data Archives.
This film you're making now, what is it?
This is a film trying to prove that Apollo 11 happened.
Does it have a name? I mean, do you have a name for it yet, or
You're calling it Did We Go?
Did we go? Okay.
Doesn't have it either. The Smithsonian doesn't have it. Johnson doesn't have it.
Right. We've been unable to track it down. I mean, we don't know where this telemetry data ended up, and we don't know what path it may have taken. So, unfortunately, I'm afraid I can't really give you much of a clue as to where this data ended up and whether it still exists or not.
Sure. So then, we go to the moon to explore the moon, and we turn around and we discover Earth for the first time. And
in its entirety.
In its entirety. Earth.
All right, and this is last thing. This is from NASA. You can go to nasa.gov, and this is them right here. This is a document they had done back in 1988. You can go to nasa.gov right now, like I did last night, and I pulled this document up. This report documents the derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. There you go.
Said, Nathan, you got to look into flat Earth. And then the more I researched it, and then I found out that it's actually the biblical cosmology is a geocentric cosmology. Then I realized why they're hiding the truth. It's because they don't want anyone to know anything. They want people dumb, blind, deaf to the truth. They're public schooling in this heliocentric model, which is basically forced sun worship. They're public schooling in this heliocentric model, which is basically forced sun worship.
In 1543, just days before his death, Freemason and Jesuit Nicholas Copernicus published his book On the Revolutions of the Celestial Spheres, which revived the old heliocentric cosmology of Pythagoras and began the so-called Copernican revolution away from a flat geocentric model and towards a global heliocentric model. Since his book claimed Earth to be a tilting, wobbling, spinning sphere revolving at breakneck speeds around a stationary sun, it was initially met with due incredulity. Copernicus always countered this by claiming his theories were merely hypotheses and shouldn't be considered truth. In his book, he even wrote, quote, "The Pythagorean teaching was founded upon hypothesis, and it is not necessary that the hypothesis should be true, or even probable. The hypothesis of the movement of the Earth is only one which is useful to explain phenomena, but it should not be considered as an absolute truth." Contemporaries of Copernicus, such as Danish astronomer Tycho Brahe, famously argued against his heliocentric model, positing that if the Earth revolved in an orbit around the Sun, the change in relative position of the stars after 6 months of orbital motion could not fail to be seen. Brahe wrote that the stars should seem to separate as we approach and come together as we recede. In actual fact, however, after millions of miles of supposed orbit around the Sun, not a single inch of parallax could be detected in the stars. Copernicus's answer to this obvious problem was simple. He moved the stars so ridiculously far away from the Earth that even after millions of miles of supposed orbit around the Sun, no appreciable parallax could be detected. Copernicus simply needed to claim that the stars were trillions upon trillions of miles away, so then, mathematically speaking, it would indeed be impossible to detect such slight parallax. Our eyes and experience tell us the Earth is flat and motionless, and everything in the sky revolves around us. But when we cease to believe our own eyes and experience, we have to prostrate ourselves at the feet of these very pseudoscientists who are blinding us, treat them as experts, astronomical priests who have special knowledge only they can access, like the Hubble telescope. So by brainwashing us of something so gigantic and fundamental, it actually makes every other kind of lesser indoctrination a piece of cake. Earth being the flat, fixed center of the universe around which everything in the heavens revolves gives a special importance and significance not only to Earth, but to us humans, the most intelligent among the intelligent designers' designs. By turning Earth into a spinning ball thrown around the sun and shot through infinite space from a godless Big Bang, they turn humanity into a random, meaningless, purposeless accident of a blind, dumb universe. So it's like trauma-based mind control, beating the divinity out of us with their mental manipulations. People are always asking, why do they do this? Other than the obvious profit margin motive, NASA being the biggest black budget black hole in existence, sucking in over $30 billion taxpayer money for the fake moon landings alone. Nowadays, hundreds of billions of dollars, and not just NASA, but RASA and all the other fake space organizations around the world giving CGI images for hundreds of billions of dollars. So this modern atheist Big Bang heliocentric globe Earth chance evolution paradigm spiritually controls humanity by removing God or any sort of intelligent design and replaces purposeful divine creation with haphazard random cosmic coincidence. And so by removing Earth from the motionless center of the universe, these Masons have moved us physically and metaphysically from a place of supreme importance to one of complete nihilistic indifference. If the Earth is the center of the universe, then the ideas of God, creation, and a purpose for human existence are resplendent. But if the Earth is just one of billions of planets revolving around billions of stars and billions of galaxies, then the ideas of God, creation, and a specific purpose for Earth and human existence become highly implausible.
So tell me, Neil, is the Earth flat?
We have video from space of the rotating spherical Earth. The Earth is round.
They don't disappear all at once. First, the bottom will disappear. See, the bottom of the ship is gone. Now we can see midway up, and then the whole thing disappears. Now, ships came back. They didn't fall off a table. So people realized that the world is curved. It's a big curve, but it's curved.
You don't see the curvature of the Earth if you are 2 millimeters above this beach ball. You just don't. That stuff is flat.
The world is round? Yes, that's right. And it also goes around. You mean it'll be round someday? No, it's round now. Man will discover this in centuries to come.
Earth, we know it spins.
Hand me that candle, will you?
So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it.
Put the candle back.
But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
Yeah. Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped.
Yeah.
All right. I think I have it figured out now. Take out the candle, and I'll block the bookcase with my body.
Yeah, well, when people tell the youth to fight the power, they don't mean Copernicus, right? I mean, there's some things that we can look at here and all understand that we're on the same page. But I would say that people should have a better understanding of why it is they believe what they believe. Because, for example, okay, we can all agree the Earth is round, but you ask people about climate change, and they'll just say, because all, the answer really is because all the smart people say so. And that should never be your baseline of why you think something is or is not true. I did not think I'd get applause for that, by the way. That was nice.
We'll start with some basic questions. The sky is...
In a world where it feels like nothing is as it seems.
Blue.
It's blue, of course. Oh, the sky's blue.
The sky's blue.
1 + 1 is...
2.
2. 2.
2. There's at least one truth we thought was indisputable.
And the Earth is...
Flat.
Flat.
The Earth is flat.
My reality, my senses tell me that the Earth is flat and stationary.
Small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
You don't believe that they've gone to space?
No, not at all. The rockets go up, sure. There's nobody in them.
This is what happens when you answer text questions with selfies. That's exactly what this is. They didn't read this. Is the Earth? Yes. Like, this is the problem with, they just say things. They're like dogs chasing tires. They just do whatever. I'm not taking a test. You said you're crushing it.
I am.
You're the unicorn of the group.
Thank you, I
Congratulations.
knew it.
The rest are sheep. Wait, am I stuck in that group?
You might be.
Damn it.
Astronaut Don Pettit, basically the head of mockery when it comes to NASA. I find it very interesting what he says during this interview from a few months back. He basically states the technology to go back to the moon has been destroyed. He'd love to go back in a nanosecond, but that technology does not exist anymore. But then he goes on to talk about going to Mars. Okay, first off, before even showing this video clip with him speaking about, again, this technology, which I find very bizarre, saying it's been destroyed. How was it destroyed? He doesn't go into details how this so-called technology that they used to go to the moon years ago has been destroyed. Let's take a look first off, again, when it comes to mockery in this video clip. Basically, again, mocking his audience, his followers during this presentation. Take a listen to what he says here.
Astronauts are really, really good at making pictures in space that look like you've never left the planet. In fact, it's almost hard-pressed to tell whether you're in space or not in this picture. You know, we've got some fancy backdrop.
How many photographs of Earth did you take in a year up there?
Oh gosh, as a crew on Expedition 30, we took about 500,000.
I'm not in on it, Truman, because there is no it.
We have seen pictures of the round globe.
Are you serious, Wally? I mean, in other words, your proof is I saw it on TV.
The spin of the Earth. Unless you can see these phenomena with your own eyes, they may not be true.
A lot of people are going, this is
crazy, right? But think about this. For the last 20, 25 generations, this is what we've told people.
As Truman grew up, we were forced to manufacture ways to keep him on the island.
I'd like to be an explorer, like the Great Magellan.
Oh, you're too late. There's really nothing left to explore.
I'm sorry. I can see that how that would affect your Christmas.
I made that whole thing up.
What?
I'm sorry. I guess I just wanted to seem interesting. I guess there's a real danger of that on this show.
There's a pressure.
Well, yeah, people come out and they've run out of anecdotes, you know, and they just start making stuff up.
Yeah.
Like that Neil Armstrong guy. Have you seen him on the talk shows?
Neil Armstrong, you mean the first man to walk on the moon?
Talk about a fish story.
Yeah.
Man, and they're buying it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The Earth is quite beautiful from space and from the moon. It looks quite small and quite remote, but...
What about the sun? Could you see any trace of the corona?
No, the glare from the sun on the helmet visor was too difficult to pick out the corona. The only time we could see the corona was during an eclipse of the sun from the moon. That is, when we were flying through the moon's shadow and could observe the solar corona peeking out from behind the moon.
Have you seen him on the talk shows?
Neil Armstrong, you mean the first man to walk on the moon?
Talk about a fish story.
Yeah.
Man, and they're buying it.
Oh, yeah. Now, you seem to be in pretty good shape physically. You work out.
Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Buzz Aldrin.
Science! 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 She blinded me with science!
Good heavens, Mr. Aldrin. Space is beautiful.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen. So in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going. But I think I know. Because we didn't. Because we didn't. Because we did.
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
Well, this might be a good conversation starter at the Thanksgiving dinner table next week, or at least an interesting one. Do you believe the Earth is a sphere? What is going on with this whole thing? It's happening at the Crown Plaza Hotel out at DIA, so if you're scared of this, you might want to steer clear of there. But no, the organizer of the Flat Earth International Conference expects over 600 people to attend. He says no tinfoil hats, but you will find some extremely unconventional views. We're talking a rejection of what the scientific consensus says is indisputable, that the Earth is a globe.
From the earliest age, from like grade 1, you've got a globe in the classroom, but you're too young to even question it.
Questioning something that's near universally accepted as fact is the core of the Flat Earth movement.
While we don't know 100% the shape or getting into the model, we would not believe that we're a spinning ball flying through space.
Flat Earthers reject Eratosthenes and Aristotle, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and NASA.
It's a picture. Pictures can be doctored.
Robbie Davidson has now organized 3 Flat Earth International conferences. He's a creationist, believing God created the Earth and a sort of dome that includes everything we can see. Not all Flat Earthers are religious. The internet abounds with different theories and videos, meetup groups in cities including Fort Collins, Denver, and Colorado Springs.
Something's going on. People are questioning the reality of what they've been taught.
Here, you asked the question, what are some of the easiest ways that you can prove that the Earth is round? Because apparently this is something that we're debating. I have no idea why.
Oh, God, why are you depressing me like
I'm
this?
just trying to be honest about this.
This is awful.
Okay? So when people say to me, you want to go into space because somebody's got some orbital tourist thing, and I'm thinking, to me, space is the large-scale structure of the universe. Thank you. Not boldly going where hundreds have gone before, driving around the block, as low Earth orbit indicates. Okay? So, yeah, you can drive to Earth orbit in, 3 or 4 hours.
Oh.
All right. If the road were pointing straight up. So if the road were pointing straight up. So
Right.
The road were pointing straight up. So NASA and others, I'm not implicating NASA uniquely in this, when they say we are going into space, that's what they mean. Okay? Now, there's a functional definition of space.
Damn, so SpaceX should be...
No, it gets worse.
They should be called Leo X.
Low Earth orbit X.
Have been pushing NASA to revamp its vision. The shuttle did some extraordinary work in low orbit experiments, this International Space Station, moving cargo. It was an extraordinary accomplishment.
We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to. The moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to. And we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
On the moon. When you looked up at the sky, could you actually see the stars and the solar corona in spite of the glare?
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the solar corona what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any. Neil, you were. I don't remember seeing any.
Neil, you were.
I don't remember seeing any.
Neil, you were a little bit concerned, you said, about stubbing your toe.
T-minus 10, 9, 8. We have a go for main engine start. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The sky is a deep black.
And we cannot see stars.
There's more than stars. You can see planets. You can see moons.
You see the gas.
The sunlight washes out all the starlight, so you can't see any stars.
Pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
We were never able to see stars.
It's the darkest black you can imagine.
Never a straight answer. So many things have changed, but I never thought I'd live in an age to see the day. Outer space is seen as fake. We have all been played, fallen prey to a Freemasonic cage. Surely all is gonna break away the more we all awake.
Turner Home Entertainment presents a dialogue, a conversation with Carl Sagan and Ted Turner.
Carl Sagan is one of the greatest minds on this planet. I'm grateful that he's here to share some of his knowledge with us. Carl, pleasure to have you here this evening.
Ted, thank you.
We're destroying the ozone layer. We're heating up the earth. We're destroying our forests. We're poisoning the groundwater with radioactive waste and pesticides. How did we ever get in this mess?
Well, we got into the mess by not paying attention and by business as usual.
Is there any way out?
People have to inform themselves. They have to understand these issues, and those photographs of the Earth, there is no evidence for it. And where there's no evidence, I say keep an open mind.
That's interesting, and I certainly agree with that. How's that for a starter? What do you think are the greatest benefits that have accrued from our expenditures and our exploration of space?
I think it's a disgrace. The U.S. has not launched one spacecraft to the moon or planets. This is stupid.
Well, I mean, I say it all the time.
A transparent hoax, Mercator projection map of the world, got enormous support.
Of course.
And of course people went for that because the right questions weren't asked. And television, by the way, was full of...
We're just giving the American people what they want.
Yes.
Oh, man, that's the best idea since they faked the moon landing.
Okay, cut.
This is a group of social criminals. These people in the space program. Nassholes, I call them. I have a very low tolerance level for stupid. Every one of those items is provably untrue at one level or another, but we believe them because they're pounded into our heads from the time we're children. That's what they do with that kind of stuff. They put it in the heads of kids. They pound it in there because they know kids are too young to be able to mount a sophisticated argument against these kind of ideas. And so kids, and up to a certain age, by the way, kids are going to believe everything a grown-up tells them, everything. So kids never learn to question things.
The world is round? Yes, that's right. And it also goes around.
Nobody questions things in this country anymore. Nobody questions things. Why? People are too fat and happy. Prosperous for their own good. Everyone's got a cell phone that'll make pancakes and rub. Americans have been silenced, bought off and silenced by gizmos and toys. And as a result, no one's ever learned to question things. Kids who want to learn to read are going to learn to read. Much more important to teach children to question.
Thinks the world is round, see? But we all know it's a flat, right? Of course it's flat. Sure, I know the world is flat.
Well, so do I. Everybody knows that.
Good. Then you're on our side. We're going to take over the boat.
You see, my crew thinks the Earth is a flat, but we know it's a round, right? Yeah, right. Sure, it's round.
Of course it's round.
Well, what town, sir? What town? Why, that's easy. Now, there's the whole flat world as we know it.
Do you know what? I think the world isn't flat at all. I think it's round like a ball.
Now, first of all, lad, we've got to get all these medieval ideas out of your head. Clear the way for new ideas. Knowledge of man's fabulous discoveries in the centuries ahead. Now, that'll be a great advantage, boy.
Advantage indeed. If the boy goes about saying the world is round, they'll take him for a lunatic. What are you doing? You want your shelf level or not? And if I say yes, you're gonna provide that for me with that? Yes, see the bubble?
The world is round? Yes, that's right. And it also goes around.
If you think you can even approach it with your sad, naked caveman eyeball and a bubble of air, you're the reason this species is a failure, and it makes me angry. You're drunk. You want to
He says the Earth is definitely flat. Here is my guest, Charles Johnson. Let's hear it for Charles. Now, Charles, you can't truly be serious and believe that this Earth is flat.
The Earth is flat is one of the few things that you can ever know for sure in life. It is the only sure thing. You know, they talk about death and taxes being sure, but the Earth being flat is much more sure than that.
But Charles,
I mean, you didn't give the rest of our name. It's the Flat Earth Research Society. We have research. We have
but Charles, we have seen pictures of the round globe.
Are you serious, Wally? I mean, in other words, your proof is I saw it on TV.
No,
Yes, Thomas. Why don't we fall off when we walk underneath, Miss Sarah? Because of a force called gravity. What does gravity look like? Gravity is something we can't see. But we know it's a great invisible force that keeps us all here on Earth.
We were always told that the world is flat.
You were told right. Don't listen to her. I've been patient with you, Sarah. Lord knows I've been patient. But now your words have revealed you.
From an airplane. I see it's round.
Oh, you got it from an airplane.
But Charles, are you saying everybody else is wrong and you people are the only ones who are right?
Absolutely. But don't get excited. The average person over 40 or 50 years old knows that Earth is flat.
But Charles, if the Earth was flat, you'd go driving along, or you'd be in a boat going, and you'd reach the end, and you'd fall off the Earth.
You've got backwards. If the world were a globe, a ball, and if you tried to get to Australia, you'd go over the edge. Any direction you went, you'd go over the edge.
Sir, his brother. We make him welcome. Speak, anyone.
Kiowa Pacer is true Earth, round like ball. White man live all side.
That is true.
Tell me, why men on bottom not fall off?
Never been there. Maybe they do.
And the water is laying flat. Right, all water lays flat. I mean, that's the nature of water, to lay flat.
Charles,
how does water lay?
Charles, I think the only thing flat here is your head.
Have you ever seen any of that water?
Charles, are you disputing? Charles, are you disputing our astronauts who have seen our beautiful round globe from outer space?
Carnies. Not a word. No one's been to the moon.
Oh, wait a minute. Did you say nobody has been to the moon?
No one has been to the moon.
Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen. So
Wait. Hold on. Are you saying that our trip to the moon was all phony?
Phony.
Wow, Neil Armstrong. Hey, wait a minute. You're supposed to be on the moon. I just saw it on TV.
Oh, there's a tape delay and with all solar winds.
Totally, completely wrong. And the reason, completely wrong. And the reason, and all these years that this insane hoax has been taught, it comes from Greece 2,500 years ago. It's called the grease ball religion, claiming the world is a ball. No proof had ever been found for this insane belief.
What proof do you have that the Earth is flat?
Let me get to who started the space program. Nick Khrushchev in Russia. The atheist communist, since they could find no proof, and he wanted to do away. The Bible is a flat earth book. Jesus, the only part of the Bible that's claimed written by God himself is the Ten Commandments. And within those commandments, you'll find in Exodus 24, it states the earth is flat. It states you shall not make a graven image and from heaven above or earth beneath or the water underneath the earth. And from heaven above or earth beneath or the water underneath the earth. In other words, that says the world is flat. See, the whole point of all hoax is to do away with Christianity, to do away with sanity.
But Charles, our time is gone. All I can say is, Charles, you got a little studying to do. The Earth is round. I'll be right back. Good night, everybody.
We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to.
Reading is fun to mental. Fun to mental. It ain't illegal yet, but they working on it. It ain't illegal yet, but they working on it.
Thank you for watching False Camera Action. Before you go anywhere, don't forget to click subscribe.